Namaste. So, last few days, I've been doing a deep dive into Vedanta. And Vedanta is fascinating, Captain. Because, well, the very meaning of the word, Veda, means knowledge, and Anta means the ultimate, the end, the greatest. So Vedanta is the ultimate knowledge, the end of knowledge. There's nothing beyond it, nothing greater. Why is that? Well, let's just look at the first three sutras. The first sutra, Athāto Brahmajijñāsā, means that now, therefore, let us inquire into Brahman. So this is given in the form of a conclusion. Now, after studying all of the Vedic literatures and practicing all of their injunctions properly over many, many births, and going through all the Upanishads and the Tantras and their practices and coming to the results and acquiring all the qualifications, which for Vedānta-sūtra basically adds up to becoming a perfect sannyasi. Now, therefore, in other words, after going through all that experience and all that learning and all that training and practice, that's done, that's finished, that is accomplished. Let us set that aside and inquire into Brahman. See, the Vedic scriptures always put the most important things first. So if you don't read anything else, read the beginning and you'll get the message of the whole scripture in summary. So in summary, Vedic knowledge, all of Vedic knowledge, and especially Vedanta, is about inquiry into Brahman. In the beginning, it's indirect, but by the time we get to the Upanishads, it's very much direct. But there are some inconsistencies among the different Upanishads. Not serious ones, but still, if we analyze according to conventional logic, two-valued logic, there seem to be some disagreements among the Upanishads. So the Vedānta-sūtra was written to resolve all those. Now, why is Vedānta-sūtra the ultimate knowledge? And why are all the Upanishads actually in agreement, despite their superficial differences? Second sutra. Janmādyasya yatah. Janma, the birth or creation, asya, etc., meaning the growth, creation, birth, maturation, evolution, dwindling, and final destruction of everything. Yatah comes from Brahman. So if this whole extensive cosmic manifestation comes from Brahman, if Brahman is the source of everything, that means Brahman is omnipotent. Brahman is the ultimate power behind everything. And because of that, Brahman is also omniscient. The ultimate knowledge, the ultimate consciousness behind everything. And then finally, Brahman is omnipresent, because if this material cosmic manifestation comes from Brahman, is born from Brahman, Janmādyasya. Janma means birth. Because the effect is present, because the cause is present in the effect, that means Brahman is omnipresent. So here you have the three qualities of God, the three main qualifications: omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Brahman, therefore, fulfills all the requirements of what is conventionally called God. And how do we know this? That's the third sutra. Śāstrayonitvat. We know it because of the Shastra, the scriptures, the Vedas and Upanishads, the Puranas, the Tantras, all the supplementary Vedic literatures, and so on. If an ordinary person in this material world is going through life, that they would have no clue that this world comes from Brahman, or that Brahman even exists. They would also have no clue that to know Brahman is the ultimate knowledge, leading to complete freedom, cessation of suffering, and so on. They need to get a clue. Where does that clue come from? Shastra, the scriptures. And the third, ahankar, the third section, adhikarana, which is, 6 or 7 sutras long, explains in great detail where the scriptures come from. They come from the breathing of Brahman. See, in the Puranas it's described in the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma, with a long A at the end, Lord Brahma, who is the creator, woke up and found himself sitting on a lotus, floating on a great ocean, which was full of huge waves driven by the wind. And wherever he looked in all directions, this ocean seemed to go on forever. He had no idea where he was, who he was, what this was all about. So then he tried to explore. Well, the only place he had to explore was his lotus flower. So he went down into the stem of the lotus, but still he couldn't find anything. He was really in the dark. So that he came out again, and he was just sitting there. And then he heard the words, tapa, tapa. Tapa means austerity. Really, it means meditation. So Brahma then meditated for 10,000 years of the demigods, which is a long, long time, millions of our years. And in the end, he attained self-realization. And then he knew, oh, I've got to create the universe. Okay. So then he proceeded to do it. How did he do it? By sound vibration, by mantra. And we've been over this in the Mysteries of the Matrika series. In fact, if you take a look at all of our series, over 100 of them, I think there are, more than 90% are based on specific scriptures. And why is this? Because the Vedic scriptures are the actual source of knowledge. Because they come from the breathing of Brahman. They come from the breathing of Mahavishnu. Once Brahma and Mahavishnu were talking, and Mahavishnu said, "You only seem to see me as a being, as a person. And this is only due to my Maya, that I am projecting this form, this image. You don't really see me at all. Until you go beyond this knowledge and ignorance, and you attain the realization of the self. Then you realize, I am everything. I am the self. I am Brahman." So without the scriptures, we are lost. We are in the dark. We're like Brahma, sitting there, tossed by the wind and waves, wondering, what the heck is this all about? Without the knowledge that comes from the Shastra, there is no way to attain self-realization. That knowledge may come directly by Vedic study, or it may come indirectly through a teacher. But still, if we trace it back, the original source is the Vedas. And so we look at everything through the lens or through the eyes of Vedic knowledge. This is called Shastra Chakshus. Literally means eyes of the scripture. So that's why all of our series are based on different scriptures. We don't try to originate anything independently. We could, because we have that vision. We have been given that realization. But that would be an offense, or it would be at cross purposes with the original design of this universe, which comes from Brahman. So the scriptures manifest effortlessly from the breathing of Mahavishnu, who is that Brahman, but through whose Maya seems to present himself as an enormous, very powerful being. That is the origin of the Vedas. So then these Vedas are passed down by oral reception from Brahma to his disciples, his sons, and so on, who then spread it all over the universe as the creation proceeded. Therefore, the Vedas are called Shruti. Shruti means that which is heard. So, because they are derived from or recorded from that which was heard by Brahma in the beginning, the Vedas are infallible. They're revealed scriptures. They don't base their teachings on reason and knowledge, but they are the revelations of the absolute Godhead, Brahman, in the form of sound vibration, Shabda Brahma. So this sound vibration has been coming down, and only recently it was recorded, about 5,000 years ago, by Vyasa. Vyasa edited the Vedas, compiled the Upanishads, and wrote the Vedānta-sūtra, a superhuman achievement. So this is the origin of all real knowledge. Everything other than this is simply speculation or theory or guesswork, or it's just plain wrong. So we're going to be getting more. I mean, the first 3 shlokas or sutras of Vedanta alone are enough to defeat all modern so-called knowledge. But the thing is that people are cheaters. They don't want to accept the authority of the Vedas, because then they would have to live the life that the Vedas recommend. And they don't want to do that. They want to have their material enjoyment and so on. So simply out of a desire for material things, they pervert their intelligence. They deny the Vedas. They take shelter of some cult. And if you think that modern materialistic society is not a cult, I got news for you. You just went through at least 12 years of school when you were young, indoctrinating you in the doctrine of materialism. So this is a cult. You are in a cult. You are a cult member. And until you get knowledge that surpasses that knowledge of the cult, you cannot get out of it. You cannot see past the walls, the artificial boundaries that have been created in your consciousness by the misdefinition of words and so on. But that's a story for another day. Right now, I just want to establish that the Vedas are the source of knowledge about everything, and one who sees through their eyes becomes enlightened. But one who doubts the Vedas or who rejects the Vedic knowledge cannot attain self-realization. That is the truth. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shaktihi Aum.